A very good morning and welcome along to the penultimate round of the FIM CEV Repsol Championship, coming to you live from the Circuito de Albacete. 2 weeks ago in Jerez, we crowned our very first champion of 2019 when Ethan Guevara wrapped up the European Talent Cup title in dominant fashion. Well, we could crown 2 more champions today. The task a little bit more tricky for Jeremy Alcoba in the Junior World Championship later on. That's our 3rd race of the day. Meanwhile, in the European Moto2 Championship, Edgar Pons has himself 2 bites at the cherry. The first coming right up, and he's got himself 2 bites at the cherry thanks to a dominant win in Jerez 2 weeks ago, which we're seeing highlights of right now. My name's Jack Appleyard. We'll be talking you through today's action. Alongside me, as always, is Elliot York. And Elliot, it was another dominant performance from Edgar Pons, as we're seeing at Jerez just 2 weeks ago. He didn't make life easy for himself during the opening laps, but his late race pace, as we've seen all year, was absolutely superb. Yeah,
it was a stunning performance from the champion-elect. Jerez was, as we've seen most of the year, to be honest, a slow and steady start for Edgar off the line, but as the race grew and grew, Edgar's pace grew and grew as well, and eventually, as you see there on your screens, he took victory by a comfortable margin in the end to give him, like you say, Jack, 2 bites of the cherry in Albacete.
Certainly does. He's got a 53-point championship lead with 2 races today and then 1 at the season finale in Valencia in, about 4 weeks' time? 4 weeks' time, to be precise. So we've got 3 MotoGP flyaways in between. So with a championship lead with 53 points, he just needs to make sure that he's 25 ahead of Hector Garzo by the time we finish today's 2 races here in Albacete, which, given his form so far, he's only been off the podium once. He's unbeaten in dry conditions, and as you can see, the sun is beating down on us here in Albacete. Track temperature of about 25 degrees, currently ambient air temperature of about 22, but that will rise as we go through today. So it's looking rather likely that we will be crowning our European Moto2 champion, probably in race number 1, but if he doesn't get it job done in race 1, then, as we said, he has got another race, our last one of the day, coming up a little bit later on, and it's more than likely that he'll get the job done there. Not to put the curse on him, of course.
Yeah, top 4 in qualifying were split by 0.099 seconds, so fingers crossed we're going to be in for a close race. It's not going to be an easy ride for Edgar Pons looking at the timesheets in race 1, but like you say, starting from pole as he has done for all but 1 of the rounds this season, he comes into this as your favourite, let's say.
Yes, certainly. It starts on pole position, as you rightly say, Elliot. It was the first time in 477 days that he wasn't on pole for a European Moto2 race in Jerez 2 weeks ago, but he's pulled his finger out on a Saturday yesterday at long last, and he's back on pole position once again. I was going to say, I'm sure he'll be hoping to put a run together of 477 days again, but actually he won't do, because I'm sure that Edgar Pons will be hoping he's not on this grid next year and he gets himself another go in the World Moto2 Championship, which, given his performances this year, he's probably deserving of.
Yeah, you definitely say so. He's had a chance in it before, but he's dominated the 2019 Moto2 European Championship, so you'd like to think he's either in talks or he's got something under his belt already. But yeah, like you say, coming into this strong, and he's got 2 chances to win the 2019 title, and there he is sat on pole looking cool as ever.
The 23-year-old is sat on pole position at the moment, as you rightly say. He's got a few more than just the 1 victory this season. He's got 5, to be precise. Picked up 1 in Valencia, had a double at his home round of Barcelona, then picked up just the 1 victory at Aragon, the first race in slightly damp conditions, meant he was a little bit more steady, a bit more pragmatic, you could say. And then he picked up, of course, that win at Jerez 2 weeks ago as well, which puts him in pole position to wrap up the championship here and wrap up a 2nd title as well. Of course, he won the 2015 championship 4 years ago and was unlucky not to win last year as well, just missing out to the Swiss rider Jesko Raffin, probably thanks to a difficult start to the season. He was the dominant force by the time we got to this part of the series in 2018, but unfortunately just couldn't make up the points differential that he lost out in the opening rounds. This man right here is, well, the only man that can stop Edgar Pons from being crowned champion today. Hector Garzo, of course, now of Moto2 World Cup fame, and will be taking part in a finale in Valencia in 5 weeks' time, hoping to try and pick up that championship there. Not helped by a little bit of an off in Spielberg, I think it was, when he was chasing down the leaders there. But his attention today is the European Moto2 class. Hector Garzo, sorry, just a one victory to his name. He's absolutely sick and tired of finishing in second place because he's got 4 seconds so far this year, and every time he's been second, Edgar Pons has won the race. He's had to finish behind him, so he will be hoping that he can finally get the better of him. As will this man as well, the Italian Jari Montoya on the outside of the front row of the grid. A good performance in qualifying yesterday from him.
Yeah, second consecutive front row start for Jari Montoya. 9th in the championship, best of 3rd in Barcelona, so he'll be hoping he can replicate that today in both of these races. 2018 Albacete, he was 20th in the Moto3 race in sodden conditions. Let's not forget, this time last year, the rain was belting down pretty much all day in Albacete, so much nicer conditions for the riders this year.
He'll be hoping that he doesn't get into the same sort of trouble that he did in Jerez as well, Jari Montoya, because he was involved in quite the incident involving Matteo Ferrari and Marcel Pons as well. A bit of a mistake on the opening laps meant that he had to fight his way back through the field, and in doing so was a little bit over-exuberant and unfortunately cleaned out both Matteo Ferrari and Marcel Pons that got caught up in an incident. So fingers crossed, none of the like this time around for Jari Montoya. We've just seen the man that will front row number 2 of the grid, Alessandro Zaccone. Alongside him, another Italian in the form of Tommaso Marcon. The pair of them, here he is, Tommaso Marcon, right on cue. Looking to back up good performances over the past couple of weeks. Marcon in particular, as you can see, has 2 podium finishes to his name, but has been super consistent, only outside of the top 6 on one occasion of the first round of the year. He's yet to have a nil point, a 0 in his points column for the championship as well. So it's been a consistent and a good season so far from Tommaso Marcon that sees him sitting 5th in the championship standings.
Yeah, very solid year for the Italian, and last year at Albacete he did manage to clinch a podium in race 2, so starting from the middle of the second run, he's got every chance of doing so, and we just saw the top 4 there split by 0.99. Marcon isn't far off them, just over a 10th off pole. So as we come to the outside of row 2, we see Marcel Brenner, the Swiss rider. Good result last time out in Jerez, equaling his best result of the year from Catalonia, as you can see on your screen. DNF in last year races. After a qualifying crash, he got injured, so he couldn't race here last year.
That is a great shame last year, but of course on the grid and just building on a couple of good performances. 6th place in Catalonia, as you can see, and then 6th last time out in Jerez as well. Just a place behind his best ever finish in the European Moto2 class that came in Estoril last year. It's only the one time that he's ever been inside the top 5, but the fact that he's starting from row number 2 of the grid, I'm sure he'll be hoping to match and even better that will Marcel Brenner today, the 21-year-old from Switzerland. This is the man that will front row number 3 of the grid, the super charismatic Thai rider Anapab Samoon, has been slowly making progress, and he's probably just nipping off to the loo, is he? He's off his bike anyway. He's just in front of us, so I'm going to keep tabs on him just to see where he's going, because we haven't got that long until racing gets underway. Only about 6 minutes or so until the race starts, and here he comes, just jogging past us, with his mechanic just pointing him in the direction of the nearest toilets, which are just underneath us. So probably some pre-race nerves for the Thai rider, just nipping off for a quick pit stop before we get underway.
Yeah, that every ounce of weight is going to help him. Maybe a little bit of slipstream if he's unloading before the race. Yeah, Anapab Samoon debut season, and he's, like you say, slowly chipped away at his results. He's had a solid year, and starting from 7th, he can expect to challenge for the top 5 once more. He was 5th in Barcelona, so let's hope for his sake he can replicate that as we turn our attention to Kazma Kazmayuddin, the Malaysian rider on the Calix machine. Again, not a bad year. Started the year in sodden conditions, Estoril, with a 9th place. Finished that with a top 7 in 3rd. And then in Catalonia, a couple of points there in 14th. And then Aragon came 2nd in damp conditions. That was a great ride for the Malaysian rider. And he starts from 8th position as Jack keeps tabs on Samoon. I think he's heading back to the grid now. He
is. Anapab Samoon update. He's just jogged past us. He is going to get back onto his bike. So it was a super quick pit stop of Formula 1 proportions. What was that? 2.8 seconds on the stopwatch. Great work from Samoon. But yeah, talking about Daniel Kazmayuddin there, he's a wet rever, as we've seen with a lot of the Malaysian riders over the years. He is another one that is absolutely superb in wet conditions. Was challenging for the podium in Estoril at the first round of the year before a crash put an end to a debut podium finish, and then, as you rightly say, Elliot, was leading the race for a vast majority in Aragon when it was started wet, and then as the sun started to come out, the track started to dry. And he probably, just for a lack of experience more than anything else, his rear tyres were absolutely shot by the end of the race. And as a result of that, he had no rear grip in the final 3-4 laps, and Hector Garzo, the eventual race winner, just went past him with real ease in the end, which was a shame, but still, second place is his best ever finish. Took full advantage of the wet conditions. Unfortunately, he's not going to get the same here. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's going to be dry throughout the day, but let's see what he can do in these dry conditions. Here's another man that's been slowly improving as well, a part of the VR46 Master Camp squad, this teammate to Anapab Sarmoon. This is, of course, Kevin Kubo, 19-year-old Thai rider. Picked up a best result of the year in Aragon, I believe it was. Just looking through my notes here.
Fifth in Jerez.
Yeah, fifth in Jerez last time out. That was it. It was super impressive there. There was a couple of riders that fell in front of him, but he still had to put himself into the top 5 and had to battle his way past a couple of experienced riders as well. So great result from him. We're hoping to build on it once more.
Yeah, in his debut season, and Jerez is a track that most of these guys will know very well. They've raced in this championship before, so a very solid ride to P5 for Kubos. We just seen the number 21 of Matthias Megel, 15th in the championship, best of P6 in Estoril, as we focus in on your championship leader as the board goes up, and we'll see our grid.
All eyes on Edgar Pons then. First opportunity to pick up the European Moto2 Championship. He just needs to finish ahead of Hector Garzo, and he'll start it from pole position. Garzo, the only man that can stop him, is on the front row alongside him, with Yari Monteiro rounding out that row number 1. Row 2 sees Alessandro Zaccone, compatriot Tommaso Marcon and Marcel Brenner, and then row 3 of the grid, Anapab Sarmoon, Kazma Daniel bin Kazmidin, the Malaysian rider, and Mikel Pons.
Moving on to row 4, we'll see Kemif Kuba, who we've just been talking about, Matthias Megel and Matteo Ciprietti. When here we go, the graphic catches up. And then row 5 is Ramadan Rosley leading Andy Falid and Jerry Salim. Row 6 is Pitwa Birsikeski, Tiago Haddad. And rounding off that is Ishizuka.
Row number 7 of the grid, Johan Diaz, Cedric Tangre and Julia Maya. Row 8, Alessandro Zetti, Kevin August and Pitu Palvalainen. A couple of guys in the Superstock 600 class. Then Aaron Polanco. We'll also find Luca de Vlislauer and Sam Wilford as well. And rounding out the final places on the grid are Nazrul bin Mohammed. And the final man on the grid is Mateo Gomez. So all eyes on the front row of the grid. Edgar Pons, Hector Garzo, and there's an issue off the start line for... Who is that that's unable to start? Is it just in front of us on our competition?
Yeah, can't quite see.
Can't just see the number at the moment. It looks like it's the teammate to Nicky Tooley, part of the team Stylo Bike squad, which would mean it would be Matteo Ciprietti, I would imagine. He's the only Team Stylo Bike rider out there at the moment because, of course, Nicky Tooley recovering from the broken leg that he suffered during a terrible Moto E crash at the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli a few weeks ago. Just keeping my eye on Matteo Ciprietti. Here he comes, number 51, motoring past us. It will be a back of the grid start because I think that pit lane will be closed now, most definitely. He's not going to be able to catch up to the guys that are on the warm-up lap because they're already halfway around here in Albacete. So it will be a pit lane start for the Team Stylo Bike rider. He was due to start from further down the grid was Matteo Ciprietti. Whereabouts was he exactly? I think he was on row number
4, 12.
Row number 4, yeah, there he is.
So not a bad start position, but obviously now that's been ruined. Not sure what the issue is, but yeah, it's a shame for Ciprietti as we head down the back straight. Edgar Pons leading the way, as he is in the championship, as you can see there. So, like we've mentioned before, we'll mention it again just before the race start. 2 races here, 1 race in Valencia, so that means he needs to take at least 25 points to Valencia to be champion. So,
or he can do it in race 1 as well. 53 points his advantage if he's 50 clear of Hector Garzo. By the time the checkered flag comes out in about half an hour's time, he will be crowned the champion. So maths is pretty simple, really. If he wins the race, he's the champion. If he finishes second behind Hector Garzo, he's not the champion. But we'll get into the ins and outs of it as we go further through the race. The reason we're talking about first and second is because those guys really have been just in a league of their own so far this year. I can't really see anybody challenging those two, maybe on the opening laps if they can just hold the rhythm, but after that, the pace for the duration of the 20 laps should be super, super strong. As we wait for the lights, a bit of delay from the marshals here. We're waiting for the green flag at the back to be waved. As you can see, there is a gap on row number 4 of the grid where Matteo Ciprietti
I think he might be joining the grid, Jack. Just see at the back of our screen. No, he's been told to pit lane. Oh, that's a shame.
Down pit lane.
I thought we'd made it round to start from his grid position, but...
So that's the delay. Revs up then, red flag moves out of the way. Watch the lights in your top left-hand corner. Edgar Pons starts from pole position. Can he wrap up the championship with a win here? It's another dynamite start from Pons from pole position. Garzo tries to go with him. Is he going to have the inside line into turn number 1? He's going to look to lunge up the inside. The foot comes out and Garzo tries to squeeze through, but it's Pons that takes the whole shot here in Albacete.
Yeah, great start from Pons. We've seen it all year from him. But Garzo just having a look at the inside. It's going to be tight here. One line mainly through the first sections there. We see Ciprietti coming out of pit lane. But let's focus on the battle for the leaders. Yeah, Pons going to keep it round the first real tight right-hander, flick it left, and then a short burst to left, and then down the back straight. But yeah, excellently done from Pons on the opening lap so far.
Strong start from Pons and a super start coming from Marcel Brenner up into 3rd place already, as is a strong start from Anapab Sarmoon as well. The pair of them coming through from rows number 3 and 2 of the grid to be there in 3rd and 4th place. Meanwhile, the bunch of Italians that we thought were going to challenge in the form of Montoya, Zaccone and Marcon have gone backwards off the grid. So it's Pons that leads from Garzo, from Marcel Brenner in a debut podium finish, and Anapab Sarmoon after a debut podium as well.
Yeah, not the start the 2 speed up boys were on. So you can see in the green at the back of the leading group as they are splitting clear from Zaccone as well. So not the best start from the number 61 rider. He was 4th on the grid. But Pons and Garzo getting a slight gap now on the chasing pack as we come down to complete the first lap already. And it's Pons leading the way as we see Brenner moving up the inside of, I think that is Montoya.
Here we are through the final corner, turn 14, the long sweeping right-hander. It eventually just closes up on here as they get onto the gas and blast past our commentary position. Pons that leads then, Sarmoon up into 3rd now. Great start from him. This is a super performance coming from the tie rider. Meanwhile, at the front, as we guessed, it looks like Pons and Garzo are probably just going to start to chip away at the laps now, and you would imagine break clear of the guys behind them. The issue for Garzo is he has to stay with Pons, especially during these opening laps, because we know, as we've seen all year, just how good he is once we get into the final half of the race.
Yeah, you'd think he has to stay with him and try and get past him just to try and break up his rhythm, because Pons looking good already. Garzo not letting him go at the minute. But yeah, like you say, Jack, you're correct in saying that Pons' latter stage race pace is superior to the rest. So let's see if Garzo can make a move on him in these opening laps. 19 laps to go. There's a long way.
Here we are at turn 8. They'll then flick right for turn 9. Another sweeping right-handed before the hard on the brakes into turn number 10. This is a super important corner here, turn 10, to get the drive down. One of 2 back straights, really. This then leading down towards turn number 11. A fairly fast-flowing right-hander that we're into now. Pons looking good through this final part of the circuit. We'll then go right once more for this little kink of turn number 12. Then on the brakes, it's the best passing opportunity on the circuit. The penultimate corner, turn 13. And then right once more for the final corner, turn 14. A super circuit is Albacete. We went round it yesterday, Elliot, and there's not many elevation changes, but it's fast, it's flowing, there's plenty of overtaking opportunities, and fingers crossed we're going to see plenty of overtaking here, because Garzo is staying with Pons at the moment, although he does look like he's pushing hard. The rear wheel trying its best to kick out on him there. Yeah,
he did. I thought he might be running wide there, but Pons got it stopped. Yeah, Albacete, first time we've been here. Tight, twisty, technical, but yeah, like you say, very quick, and it's a great circuit, especially for these Moto2 riders. They can really wind it up down the 2 back straights. There's a lot of fast kinks. There's some good overtaking spots. Who's that? Number 25.
That's Brenner that's gone down.
Brenner.
It was a super start for the Swiss rider. He was hoping to get inside the top 5 for only the 2nd time in his career. Where's he gone down here at turn 13? Just on the outside. Oh, he's been taken out. Who's that that's gone down with him? Montoya as well. Well, we said on the grid we're hoping that he doesn't do exactly the same as what he did in Jerez 2 weeks ago, and he's done it again. He's taken another man out as a young Italian. This time, Marcel Brenner, the unfortunate recipient.
Yeah, not good there from the 2 for Marcel Brenner, and was it not Marco Montoya? Sorry,
Montoya again.
Yeah, starting from the front row, not what the number 55 would have wanted. And now you can see Garzo and Pons have got a clear gap to man in third place, Sar Moon. So it looks like it's just a race between these two at the moment, Jack, as they start to split here. But Garzo is not letting Pons go.
Well, Montea's not going to be on many people's Christmas cards list in the European Moto2 Championship. You can now scratch Marcel Brenner off that list that already has Matteo Ferrari and Mikel Pons scratched off of it as well. Not making many friends in the championship is Montea. Meanwhile, back at the front, as you rightly say, these two have broken clear, but Hector Garzo is staying with Pons at the moment. He's glued to the rear wheel of the number 57. Meanwhile, in the podium fight behind, Sar Moon currently has about half a second to Tommaso Marcon behind him. The speed-up rider just closing in bit by bit. It was only a tenth of a second quicker that time around. Meanwhile, fastest lap of the race coming in from Hector Garzo behind. Incidentally, the lap record here is a 1:32.513, or should I say, was a 1:32.513, held by Tetsuta Nagashima from 2016. We can scratch that off because that's a brand new lap record coming in from Hector Garzo, 1:32.156, a good lap from the Spaniard in second.
Yeah, cracking lap from Garzo as he stays on the tailpipes of the number 57 and the championship leader. Garzo knows that he needs to beat Pons in this race to stand any chance of the championship continuing into race 2. So this is going to be a fight till the end as we come down the back straight once more out of turn 10 into turn 11.
And again, the rear wheel on Garzo, he doesn't half get it out of shape on some occasions, does Garzo. Garzo, incidentally, riding a Tech 2 Moto2 machine. Oh, a bit of a bobble from Garzo then. I'm not sure if the front just tried to fold on him. He ran ever so slightly wide out of turn 13 there, and as a result, he's just lost a couple of bike lengths on Hector Garzo, on Edgar Pons in the lead of the race. Bit of a moment for Garzo, but heads back down beneath the bubble, and he's back to it, trying to stay with Edgar Pons at the front of the race. Yeah,
he's pushing, isn't he, Garzo, trying to stay with Pons. Incidentally, on that lap, Pons was a little bit quicker, and these two at the front were a good second quicker than your man in third place, Sar Moon, so they are breaking clear now. As you can see, 3.1 back to the man in third place as Sar Moon and Marcon have a good scrap for the final position on the podium. But Pons looking on rails at the minute, Jack. Garzo needs to stick with him, like we keep saying, just needs to keep putting him under pressure, else if Pons edges it out to half a second or a second, he's going to start pulling away. As we've mentioned numerous times already, that latter race pace for Pons is far superior. As we see the number 10 of Marcon under the 50. Nice move from the speed-up rider.
There he goes, up the inside of Anapab Sar Moon for third place goes Tommaso Marcon. And another podium finishes the Italian, who's already got 2 in the bank so far this year, and he's eyeing another third place finish. But Sar Moon will have other questions to ask him, I'm sure, as they come down the back straight now. Sar Moon just tucked in behind the Italian. He's just sat up there a little bit early. I'm not sure if he wanted to try and make a move there. Again, just looks not that comfortable as they flicked right through turn number 11. Hard on the brakes now for turn 13. No way through here for Sar Moon, but he is hopefully going to stay with Marcon in this battle for third place. Sar
Moon backing in there at turn 11. Cracking riding style from the number 50. Can he get the run down the straight? Looks behind, not sure why. He's in the slipstream. He's going to make a move into turn 1. What's the gap at the front? Just checking, 0.3 now between Garzo and Pons. So it's hovering just under half a second. That's all right for Garzo at the moment. No pass for Sar Moon into turn 1. We've got 15 laps to go, so still a long way in this podium battle and the battle at the front.
Meanwhile, we can't discount in 5th and 6th place behind Alessandro Zaccone and Mikel Pons as well. On that last lap, they were only within a tenth of a second of 3rd and 4th place Marcon and Sar Moon ahead of them, so they're certainly not out of the hunt for a podium finish just yet. Meanwhile, at the front of the race, it's Pons that still leads, now 0.3 of a second clear of Hector Garzo. That advantage is as big as we've seen it so far in this race. And as you can see on that last lap, Pons was just able to eke out a tenth of a second, and he's certainly looking like he's faster than Garzo this time around as well. Is this the break for not only the race win, but the championship as well in this early stage?
Yeah, 10th might not seem a lot, but if it's 10th every lap, it's going to edge and edge clearer and get up to that second mark, and already we can see the gap looks to be a little bit more than 0.3. I reckon that's about 0.5 now as the team watch on as Pons comes into backing it in nicely there is Pons into the left-hander before the Parabolica-esque right-hander onto the start-finish straight. That gap is visibly bigger on this lap. Not sure if Garzo has made a mistake in that last sector or not. Didn't quite see it. Let's see what the gap is.
Well, the elastic is at breaking point now between the two. The slipstream effect, although minimal here at Albacete, because there's not that many long straights, is certainly just starting to get out of reach for Hector Garzo. As he came across the line, it was just under 3/4 of a second. Pons was far quicker, 0.3 of a second, incidentally, quicker than Garzo behind him. And that's the biggest point, even at this early stage. Pons is still within 0.3 of a second of his fastest lap, whereas Garzo is already 0.6 of a second slower than what we saw in the opening stages. Pons is just able to chip away lap after lap. He's got such consistency, and it looks as though he's breaking Hector Garzo with only 6 laps completed.
Yeah, that consistency is visible to see here, and that's the key. Pretty much what been his championship year, and if he keeps it up for this race, he's going to be crowned the 2019 champion. If Garzo can't stay with him, which it's not looking like at the minute. He's not dropping him too much, but like we've mentioned, it's now over half a second, so it's going to get tricky for Garzo as the battle for the final podium spot's heating up.
Tyre wear definitely will be crucial here at Albacete, though. As you can see, during the first 6 laps, they spend so much time on the side of the tyre, where it is left or right. Certainly the Moto3 guys that I was speaking to yesterday say that really, as we get into the final 5 laps of the race, that is where it's going to be won, because a lot of guys, even if they make the break early, will quickly run into some tyre difficulty. So just because Pons, as he comes across the line now, over a second clear of Garzo, it doesn't mean that this race is over and done with. We've still 13 laps to go. We may well see for the first time this year that actually Pons starts to struggle in the latter stages of the race, and Garzo's able to reel him in. To be perfectly frank, I can't see that happening, but so we have a decent race. It may well happen. We cannot discount Garzo just yet.
No, 100%. We cannot discount anything yet, and who knows, Garzo might just be backing off slightly, but here is where the real battle lies for 3rd place. It's Marcon leading Sarmoon Zaccone and Mikel Pons, the number 77 rider there. He started from the rear of the row 3.
It's a proper fight, this, a real 8-wheeler for 3rd place. Marcon, as you rightly say, Elliot, currently leading it, but in your back of your picture as well, Kevin Kubo pulling a big wheelie out of turn number 6. I think he's fancying his chances here as well. We'll keep an eye on his lap times, because last time around, how far adrift was he? He was only, well,
Zaccone there, that's a brave move.
Yeah, good.
Not quite.
Look up the inside from Zaccone, no way through. He has another look up the inside, but Sarmoon holds strong once more. This is a proper scrap for 3rd place.
It is. Zaccone was only, well, he's less than a 10th off pole position, so I was expecting him to have a little bit more of a say in the battle for the race win, but he didn't get a good start. He dropped off the 2 guys in front of him now, but he's caught them up quite quickly, and he is looking like he wants to get through. So let's see if he can do it. The number 61 rider, 3rd in the group, as they come round the final corner onto the front straight. Oh, that was a little bit of a moment for Sarmoon there on the front end. Is that going to allow Zaccone to get the slipstream? I don't think he's quite close enough this round, but Mikel Pons might be. Is he going to have a look? I think he is, and underneath the 61 goes the 77. A great move there from the Spaniard.
There goes Pons up to 5th place now, sorry. Just starting to chip his way through the field is Mikel Pons, and he's almost immediately latched himself onto the rear wheel of Anapab Sarmoon, who himself was just showing his front wheel to Tommaso Marcon as they flicked right there. Now they'll go left through turns number 5 and then through turn 6 as well before we go down one of the 2 back straights. Bit wide was Sarmoon there. He's lost the drive. Opportunity now for Mikel Pons to possibly look to go through on the inside, but if you're going to make a move at turn 7, it is a brave move. That is a fast left-hander, especially for these Moto2 boys, so no way through. Marcon just edging a little bit further clear as a result of that slight bobble from Sarmoon through turn 6, but
here comes Zaccone again, same move.
That
made it stick that time.
Big lunge up the inside, but here comes Pons. He's going to fight back once more. Oh, it's heating up here in the battle for 3rd place. Mikel Pons bites straight back up the inside of Zaccone to retake 5th away. And here comes Sarmoon now again, just edging to the right of Marcon, but no way through. Got 12 laps remaining here, plenty of time for these 2 to scrap it out. Into turn 13, no moves been thrown in by any of these riders in this fight for the final podium place. There goes Pons through past our commentary position, now 1.5 seconds clear of Hector Garzo. Incidentally, Garzo was just marginally quicker on that lap, less than a tenth of a second, but he was the fastest man on track that time around. Here comes this battle for third place. Sarmoon again looking up the inside, but no way through into turn 1.
Yeah, when Pons made that move back past Zaccone on the last lap at turn 10, he said, stick behind me, let's go and overtake these two in the battle for the podium. So we'll wait and see if the 61 will listen to the rider in front of him. I doubt he will, because this is Moto2 and it's racing. But let's just see if they can get the better of Marcon and Simon ahead of him. And yeah, like you say, the gap coming down ever so slightly, but less than a tenth isn't going to be quite enough so far for Garzo. But it's still only 1.5 seconds, so he's not letting this race go as of yet. And
again, Sarmoon was just ever so slightly wide on the exit out of turn 6 there. Mikel Pons behind him was able to hold a much tighter line. And as you can see, Marcon is just able to pull out 2 or 3 bike lengths out of turn 6, and as they then flick through turn 7, which is just meaning he can hold them off through this second half of the lap now. Yeah,
coming into turn 10 then, Marcon looking a little bit comfortable in third place at the minute, as Sarmoon, yeah, like you say, getting it squirrely every lap here. Every time we turn to him, he's getting it out of shape. Watch him back into this turn 10, the real step out. There it is, as we focus in on the number 10 of Marcon, and another good ride for the number 10 rider, like we mentioned on the grid. He's had a very solid season, points in every race, 2 podiums, and he's looking like he's going to battle for the third one as well, as we focus now on your race leader and the championship leader, Mikel Pons. What's the gap? It's risen again to 1.7. So another couple of attempts eked out there for that man on your screen.
Well, he's responded on that lap. He was a quarter of a second quicker than Hector Garzo. Behind him was Edgar Pons. As you can see there, a 132.7 compared to the 132.9 from Hector Garzo. Compare that to the early race pace, the 132.1 that Garzo and Pons both set. The pair of them separated their fastest laps by just 0.02 of a second. Garzo's slightly quicker, which means that he's got the new lap record, but at the moment it's looking like this race win and the championship is just starting to slip away from the number 4. Meanwhile, in that fight for third place behind, the 8-wheeler is still continuing, but it could well become a 10-wheeler very shortly, because Daniel Kazmiadin has got himself in front of Kemin Tsukuba for 7th place now. He's only 1.7 seconds adrift, and incidentally, he was 0.4 of a second quicker than the guys in front of him last time around. So Kazmiadin is a man on the move, and he's eyeing himself another podium finish. Meanwhile, that is your live championship pictures. 58 points his advantage is enough for him to be crowned the European Moto2 Championship as things stand at half race distance, but still plenty that can happen with 10 laps remaining. Wait to get Edgar Pons over the finish line, having taken the checkered flag, before we start to say he is the champion for 2019.
Yeah, and incidentally on that graphic it also saw Marcon moving up to third place in the championship, with the third position he's currently occupying 3 tenths ahead of Sarmoon as they whiz past our commentary. And here they are, and Mikel Pons is now up behind Marcon. So Sarmoon has dropped down to behind Zaccone as well, so maybe there was a mistake there from the number 10. There's the 61 and 77 have passed him, and now Mikel Pons is hounding third place man Tommaso Marcon on the green speed-up machine.
Pons already has a podium finish to his name in Aragon this year at the first of 2 races at Motorland Aragon in slightly damp conditions, but this will be a first dry podium of the year for Mikel Pons. No relation, incidentally, to Edgar Pons at the front of the race. But he's now looking all over the rear wheel of Tommaso Marcon, the speed-up machine ahead of him. Pons himself running the Kalex, as is the man behind him, Alessandro Zaccone, as is the man behind him, Anapab Sarmoon. Kalex, who have, of course, absolutely dominated the World Moto2 Championship this year as well. But it's good to see in the European Moto2 Championship that a couple of the other chassis manufacturers are getting in on the mix, as Pons was over onto the dirty stuff there, kicking up a big puff of dust. And unsurprising, as a result, he gets himself a track limits warning as well. I think we all know he was over track limits there with the dust kicking up, but didn't affect his speed whatsoever, because he's still there, latched onto the rear wheel of Marcon. And if he can get a good run out of this final corner here on the curb on the inside, pushing hard is the 77. Is he going to pull out of the slipstream here and try and make a move into turn number 1, Mikel Pons? Here he comes, looking up the inside, the right leg comes out, the rear wheel kicks out, and there he goes, moves through into third place, and it's now Pons that holds that final podium position.
Yeah, very classy move there from the number 7 77. I think he was right to say to Zaccone, stick behind me, mate, I've got the pace, let's go get him. And now it's Zaccone's turn to try and have a look at the number 10, but not quite at the tight turn 4. Here we have a replay of Pons running it slightly out wide onto the dust.
Well, big shake. You can see the rear wheel just shaking him from left to right, and he's quickly got down to work here. Oh, bit of a mistake from Marcon, and here comes Zaccone up the inside to now take 4th place. So Marcon is having a disastrous lap here. He started in 3rd place, and he's now been bullied back to 5th. But it was an important move from Zaccone, because Pons has just broken ever so slightly clear from this 8-wheeler as he tries to grab himself a 2nd podium finish of 2019.
Yeah, he's looking good here, isn't he? Pons, and Zaccone's followed him through now eventually. 7.5 laps to go. Is he going to keep it on the tarmac this time around? He is. Not any troubles for the number 77, as now the 61 of Zaccone aims to try and challenge that final podium position. But Simon and Marcon aren't done yet. Let's see if they can keep the pace up for the podium challenge, as we see Pons whiz by and Garzo whiz by. What's the gap now? 2.2 at the front. So what was the last lap? The last lap was similar, but Pons knows now that he's got a comfortable 2-second margin to the man in 2nd. So maybe he's just not taking any risks, and rightly so, as we see Pons backing it in again. He's looking good here, isn't he? The number 77.
He is now 0.6 of a second clear of Zaccone, Marcon and Sarmoon behind him. So with now 7 laps remaining, it looks like this is the move coming in from Mikel Pons to secure and put a nice little bow tie on a 2nd podium finish of 2019. Meanwhile, this man right here, your race leader, Edgar Pons, is chipping away lap after lap. He's edging ever closer to a 2nd European Moto2 title. He's just watching his pit board at the moment, 2.2 seconds clear. He doesn't look to be in any danger whatsoever, but one mistake and Garzo will be able to close in onto the rear wheel of the number 57 and spark the championship back into life. But even if he does make a mistake in this one and Garzo is able to get in front of him, the manner in which the championship is set, it looks like if he doesn't do it in race 1, he will get it sewn up in race number 2 later on today. It will take a total disaster for him not to be crowned champion today, but I've probably put the curse on it.
Yeah, let's hope you haven't, for Pons' sake, Jack. But he is looking again, like we've seen all season, in supreme form, untouchable, whizzes by the team giving a thumbs up, gap comfortable. What is it now as Garzo across the line? 2.7, edging towards that 3-second mark. So nothing silly needed now for Pons. Garzo was half a second slower on that lap.
Meanwhile,
as well.
Here's this fight for 3rd place. Pons still sat there, but has been reeled in by 0.2 of a second on that lap, so it's not all said and done in this fight for 3rd. Mikel Pons currently leading it, but Zaccone and Marcon were able to just reel him in ever so slightly on that last lap. This is definitely going to go right down to the wire here. Pons is pushing hard, as is Zaccone as well. They all want to taste the champagne here in Albacete.
Yeah, I thought Pons, if he got to the front of this group, he might start breaking clear, but that hasn't been the case. Zaccone isn't letting him go, Marcon isn't letting Zaccone go, and the number 50 at the back of your screen, Sarmoon, isn't letting the trio go either. So this is going to go right down to the wire as we flick it left with a fast kink at the end of the first back straight and into turn 8, sorry. A little bit wide there from Marcon.
Good stuff coming in here from Zaccone, though, the number 61. He's just chipping away here, and he's pretty strong in this final sector as well as Zaccone. Let's see what we can do out of turn 10 now. We're into the final sector. We're down the back straight. Again, a little bit of dust just kicking up. I don't think anybody was too wide. Certainly nowhere near how wide Mikel Pons was a couple of laps ago. Through turn number 11 now. This is turn 12, your left kink. Then on the brakes, they'll go left for turn 13, before then flick it in into the long final corner of turn 14. Pons just tries to get up on the curb on the inside there as he asks for the power to drive it past our commentary position just there. 77 now under half a second ahead of Zaccone. He's just holding that gap there. The pair were, well, separated by just 100th of a second that time around. And if they can continue with that sort of pace in these final 5 laps, this final podium place will go the way of Mikel Pons. Meanwhile, this is a pretty hot battle for 7th as well. Currently held by the 27 of Daniel Kazmiadin. He's got Kevin Kubo for company. And then the number 9, he's got Matthias Magel on his rear wheel as well. So these guys fighting out for 7th, 8th and 9th place.
Yeah, Kubo in a Dynavolt sandwich at the minute as the 27 and 21 look to break clear of the number 9. But like we've said for teammate Sarah Moon, both riders doing a sterling job in their debut seasons in the Moto2 European Championship. Best of P5 for Kubo, so it didn't look like he's going to replicate that this time around, but nevertheless, a very solid ride.
Part of a young bunch of Thai riders that really are coming on leaps and bounds over the past couple of years. Spearheaded by Somkiat Chantra in the Moto2 World Championship, who was super strong in Buriram at his home round just a week ago, and looks like he could be a real contender next year for regular top 10 and maybe even top 5 finishes. Meanwhile, in this class, another set of thumbs up going the way of Edgar Pons. Now 3.7 seconds clear, just 4 laps remaining, 14 kilometres left for him to overcome before he will officially be crowned your 2019 European Moto2 champion. Meanwhile, this is the battle for 3rd place. Pons still holding half a second over Zaccone and Marcon in 4th and 5th. Some good riding here from Mikel Pons because he's under a load of pressure. He will be watching his pit board, seeing that the gap is staying stagnant, and they're hoping to keep it that way over this final handful of laps. But the Italian duo of Zaccone and Marcon pushing real hard now to see if they can reel him in and try and make a move on these final laps to steal 3rd place away from him.
Yeah, the trio have just dropped Sarmoon. He was a good half second slower than them on that final lap, with the 3 pretty much setting identical lap times. But yeah, this race and championship has all been about this man so far, Mikel Pons, as the team look on. Hopeful the last 3 1/4 laps stays the way the rest of the race has been for the Spaniard. No silly mistakes, just got to bring it home now for his 2nd European Moto2 Championship. Onto the straight he comes, ticks off another lap with 3 to go.
Was pretty relaxed this morning at breakfast, was Edgar Pons, just tucking into an avocado and toast. Very healthy, an athlete's diet, unlike our breakfast. But yeah, didn't seem phased whatsoever, no nerves whatsoever, although he never looks phased as Edgar Pons.
No, he doesn't.
He's such a calm and collected character. He's that laid back, he's almost sideways as Edgar Pons. He's such a cool character. He's Pons from Barcelona, just gets on with his work without any real fuss whatsoever. And he's been in imperious form this year. 5 wins to his name so far, unbeaten in dry conditions, and he's looking like extending that run to a 6th win in dry conditions and a 6th win of the championship as well. He's pretty much been in a league of his own. When it has been dry, I don't think he's really been in a fight all year. Nobody's been able to get close to him. Every race victory has been well over 3 seconds. He's just chipped away lap after lap, and nobody has been able to live with him, and it's the exact same story here in Albacete again.
Yeah, we've seen this, like you say, all season. A couple of the first, let's say, quarter of the race, Garzo or whoever it was in second has been able to stay with him, but he just keeps that pace up. Consistency has been key to this championship, and Pons just edges clear of his competitors as the laps tick by. And as the laps tick by in this race, 2 laps to go before this man is crowned your 2019 champion, barring any disaster. The race is past our commentary box. There's Garzo. Nothing much he can do now but watch Edgar Pons race clear. What's the battle for the final podium looking like? I think half a second covering the top 3. We'll wait for them to come across the line. Here they are. Pons a little bit of advantage on the number 10, but here's Zaccone. Is he going to make a move on Marcon? I think Marcon's got past Zaccone actually on that lap.
He has. Marcon now back up into 4th place, but Zaccone is having a look up the inside there to try to steal that back away from him. So Marcon clearly feels that he's got the pace to be able to pull him in these final 2 laps now. The gap is still half a second, 0.4 of a second to be precise. Big look up the inside from Zaccone again. He does love a good lunge.
Really does.
Alessandro Zaccone. Always showing his front wheel to the man in front of him. Meanwhile, Marcon, he's doing a good job though. He's just ever so slightly been able to chip away at Pons here. Is Mikel Pons in these final laps going to lose out on P3? He's possibly looking that way. He's certainly going to have a fight on his hands in the final lap. Again, Zaccone looking up the inside, but no way through there for the young Italian. But so far, so good for Mikel Pons. He's just holding 2 or 3 bike lengths advantage, which will be enough on the final lap to hold off any lunges coming in from the guys behind him. As again, Zaccone looks up the inside, no way through, but Marcon runs wide. This is going to be an opportunity now as he winds it up down the back straight for the penultimate time. No way through at turn number 11, though.
I think we'll turn 13, this turn here will be the decider in the race. That's going to come down to the wire as we start our last lap, and it's the last lap for Edgar Pons. Is he well on his way? Yes, he is, to the 2019 European Championship. If he can just keep it steady on this final lap. There's no pressure from Garzo. The team have told him, you've got enough time, mate, chill out, enjoy this last lap. Nothing silly for the 57. What's the gap like in the battle for third? Pons still holding it from...
So Pons into turn number 6 here. There's a time penalty going the way of Aaron Palanco further down the field in 20 seconds, but that's not going to affect the order at the top, because here is Edgar Pons halfway through this final lap on his way to a second European Moto2 crown. He has been imperious all year. And this race here in Albacete, well, it's followed the script of every other dry race we've seen in the championship so far in 2019. He starts from pole position, he gets the whole shot, and then he pulls clear. He has been in a league of his own as the number 57. Nobody's been able to live with him throughout the year, and it's the same here in Albacete. Superb stuff from the 57. Meanwhile, in the fight for third place, Pons still holding on, it seems, ahead of Marcon and Zaccone, so it looks like it's going to be a second podium finish for him. Garzo will, unfortunately for him, have to settle for second place for a 5th time this season. Behind this man, here he comes out of the final corner. Stand and deliver once more. Your 2019 European Moto2 champion. Take a bow, Edgar Pons, a sensational 6th win of the season, a stoppie over the line to celebrate as well. He has been unstoppable in 2019, and he wraps up a second title. Meanwhile, over the line, Mikel Pons steals third place. Another podium for him, a first in dry conditions in 2019. A great ride coming in from the 77 with Marcon and Zaccone rounding out the top 5. Certainly, Anupam Sarmoon deserves a mention as well in 6th place. One of his better rides of 2019. But the championship celebrations can commence now. The gold helmet is there. The T-shirts with the number 1 on them. I'm sure they were made about 4 weeks ago. It's never been in doubt. And now, the 2019 champion joins the likes of Jordi Torres and Jesko Raffin as a 2-time European Moto2 champion. The last time he won it in 2015, he went on to have 2 years in the World Championship. It didn't go to plan for the talented Spaniard. We'll be hoping that this time round, if an opportunity comes his way, he can make the most of it. His girlfriend to the left puts the T-shirt on with the number 1 emblazoned across it. And the team can celebrate as well. Numero uno once again for the Gasman, European Moto2 champion. Gets a kiss off girlfriend as well as a congratulations, and the gold helmet will go on as well. I'm sure we'll see it at the season finale in Valencia, a number 1 on board his machine. But it has been a imperious season. Second place and third place, the opening rounds in Estoril in tricky conditions. That's where he lost the season in 2018 with 2 crashes. And I'm sure that was in the back of his mind when he went to Portugal this time around and decided to play it a little bit more conservative and come away with 2 podium finishes. But after that, once we got into the homeland of Spain, in Valencia, Barcelona, Aragon, Jerez, and now here in Albacete, he's been unstoppable. Race win in Valencia, a double race win in Catalonia. Then in tricky conditions, the first race in Aragon, he decided to settle for 6th place after possibly having a bit of a tyre gamble not going his way. But then bounced back later on that day with another race win, his 4th of the season in Aragon. Picked up win number 5 in Jerez just 2 weeks ago. And now he's wrapped up the championship with win number 6 of the season, a sensational 6th victory of 2019. And with it, the 2019 European Moto2 Championship. Edgar Pons has done it again. And a big stand-up wheelie to celebrate as well. We'll be hearing from him shortly. Elliott has made his way down to Parc Fermé to get the thoughts of Edgar Pons. We've also seen Parc Fermé, Hector Garzo back in to second place, a 5th second of the season. He's been riding really well this year as Hector Garzo, but just hasn't been able to live with Pons throughout the year. He has pretty much secured second place in the championship now, with Nicky Tooley behind him, who was in 3rd place, shuffling down the order as a result of his injury absence. 4th place for Tommaso Marcon, may well see him move up the order as well. Alessandro Zaccone will just slip behind him by a couple of points in that fight for 3rd place in the final podium spot in the overall championship. That's going to go right down to the wire, there's no doubt about that. The pair of them just separated by 2 points with now 2 races remaining. But here comes Edgar Pons through the final corner before he makes his way down Parc Fermé, where there is a throng of team members. Everyone in that AGR team, the Bico team, awaiting his reception. There they are, waiting for him to come under our commentary position, parking up in P number 1, and the celebrations can now commence. The surfboard to the left, because, well, he is a surfer, is Edgar Pons. In his spare time over the summer break, he's often out at the Barcelona, down at Barceloneta Beach, with his surfboard as well. He's a pretty handy surfer, actually. He's certainly not as good as he is on 2 wheels, but he's pretty handy on a surfboard, is Edgar Pons. And he's got that real surfer mentality as well. Never phased. He's the 23-year-old from Barcelona. Now celebrating with his team as well. Well deserved. It's not just a one-man effort, is this? The whole of the team have put together a superb package whereby week after week, day after day as well, he's just been imperious in free practice, in qualifying. As we said, he's only been off pole position once this year so far. Had a run of 9 consecutive poles over, well, nearly an 18-month stretch, going all the way back to 2018 when he was on pole position, and he's followed that form into Sundays as well. As you can see, Elliott lining up to speak with your new champion. So let's head down to Parc Fermé and hear from your 2019 European Moto2 champion. Edgar Pons is alongside Elliott.
Edgar, a phenomenal race to cap off a phenomenal season. You are the 2019 European Moto2 champion. How did you feel after that?
Incredible, no? It's been an amazing season, and finishing like this is even better, no? Before I started the race, I was full with pressure, like, oh, I want to win, but I don't want to crash. But I started pushing, and I felt good, and it's amazing, no? I'm really happy for all the team, because they've done an incredible job, no? Since I arrived here last year. So really pleased, and this thing only gives me more motivated for keep going, no? So thank you very much.
And in Spanish.
Pues sí, no, muy contento, no, porque la temporada ha ido muy bien y antes de la carrera pues estaba muy presionado, no, porque quería acabarlo lo antes posible, pero sabía que no nos la podíamos jugar tanto, así que ha sido un poquito complicado, pero bueno, desde la primera vuelta me he sentido bien, he ido haciendo un pequeño agujero, así que muy contento, no, dar las gracias sobre todo al equipo, que desde el año pasado hemos estado trabajando mucho con la puesta a punto, forma de pilotaje, todo, así que muchas gracias, ¿no? Esto solo me motiva aún más para seguir trabajando y seguir creyendo en mí y seguir creciendo.
Congratulations, Edgar.
Thank you very much.
So the first race of the day here in Albacete was the European Moto2 Championship, with Edgar Pons starting from pole position, hoping to rack up the 2019 title. And he started the race exactly as he would have liked to have done, from pole position, taking the whole shot. He had some early pressure coming his way from the number 4 of Hector Garzo behind him. Garzo aboard a Tech 2 machine, tucked in behind the Calyx of Pons behind him. Meanwhile, there was an incident on the opening laps where, after a superb start, Marcel Brenner was cleaned out by Jari Montoya as they fought over third place. At the front, though, these two pulled clear. The number 57 of Pons and the number 4 of Garzo just had a little bid on everybody else. Meanwhile, the battle for third was a little bit more heated, with Tommaso Marcon making a move on Anapab Sarmoon, whilst the likes of Alessandro Zaccone and Mikel Pons started to close in behind them, and then an 8-wheeler would ensue over the fight for 16 points and a podium celebration. Mikel Pons started to make his way through that field, picking off Zaccone, Marcon and then Sarmoon to settle his way into third place, with this moon coming in under the inside of Tommaso Marcon, securing that third place. He was able to break clear as the two Italians started to go to war, with Marcon and Zaccone nearly coming to blows down the back straight, but at the front it was all about this man, chipped away lap after lap. Another sensational performance and a 6th victory of 2019 for now your 2019 European Moto2 champion, Edgar Pons. The battle for third place was a little bit more heated in the final laps, but despite the late efforts from Marcon and Zaccone, they couldn't topple Mikel Pons for third place. And talking of toppling, nobody got close to that man. Stoppies over the line, the celebrations would ensue, gold helmet, number 1 and all, championship t-shirt, now donned on the number 57, and quite rightly, because for the 2nd time in his career, he has wrapped up the European Moto2 Championship. And now the podium celebrations here in Albacete, with Pons jumping onto the top step of the podium for the 6th time in 2019. Hector Garzo will be sick of that sight. For the 5th time this year, he has to look to his left to see Pons in P1 and himself sat in P2. But he's got 2 more races of 2019 to try and get the better of your new champion. The team award going the way of the boss, I would imagine, of the Baico AGR squad, after another championship for them. In the Superstock 600 class, well, Joan Diaz has taken the win there. Good performance from the Spaniard in the end, was quite a long way clear of Alessandro Zaccone, and then Peter Palvalainen in the SOC 600 class. P3 going the way of Mikel Pons. Trophy handed over by Raquel Ruiz, part of the tourism department here in Albacete. Only a 2nd podium of the year, and the 1st in dry conditions for Pons. He had to work hard for it as well. 2nd place going the way of Hector Garzo, Vice President of FIM Europe, handing over the P2 award to Garzo. And now the race win going the way of Edgar Pons, a 6th of the year. Amparo Torres hands over the P1 trophy. He lifts it high into the sky as he dons the 2019 champion Dunlop cap as well. Job done for Edgar Pons. Check courtesy of Repsol going the way of Hector Garzo. Shrugs his shoulders, says, well, it's a nice little consolation prize, 500 euros going his way. Help him on the drive back to Valencia about a couple of hours. But now the Spanish national anthem for Edgar Pons.
El aplauso para el podium de la primera carrera de Moto2.
So the first race of the day goes the way of Edgar Pons, and as a result, the 2019 championship is now wrapped up. That's 2 of the 3 now crowned, thanks to Ethan Guevara wrapping up the European Talent Cup title last fortnight in Jerez. And we're going to see him in action next. The European Talent Cup is on the way, before we then get to see if Jeremy Alcoba can wrap up the Junior World Championship title. Slightly more difficult task for him But he'll start that one from pole position, Will Alcoba. Looks to secure third and final title here in FIM CEV Repsol. Checkered flag with the number 1 on it going away of Pons, gives it a wave as well. Don't normally get that in FIM CEV Repsol. I think that's a Circuito Albacete specialty, the checkered flag going the way of the race winner. So European Talent Cup on the bill next, with your new champion Ethan Guevara starting from pole position. The team's just making their way out onto the grid in front of us. Elliot's rejoined me in the box, having spoken to a delighted Edgar Pons, who, well, we sort of guessed that this was going to happen quite early into the season. He managed to put a run of 4 or 5 victories together, and it never really looked like it was going to go anywhere else but that man.
Yeah, of course, he was super delighted with not just today, the whole season, of course. Like you say, Jack, early doors, it was pretty obvious Pons was the man to beat this year, and so it proved. There's his whole team getting lined up on the rostrum to get a photo. The gas man, make it happen. He certainly made it happen in 2019. His second Moto2 European Championship title. Yeah, not sure what he's doing next year, but if he's back in this class, then I assume he's going to be the man to beat. Garzo will obviously be wanting to beat him. Not sure where Garzo's going to end up next year either, but let's hope for their sakes they're going to move on to pastures new, but if not...
Well, yeah, as you say, let's hope that Pons gets himself an opportunity in the World Championship next year. Because you look at that HP 40 squad, giving an opportunity to Augusto Fernandez, and well, he's paid them back. He was, this time last year, or at the start of last year, fighting it in this very same championship in the European Moto2 squad. And over the past couple of years, maybe the guys in this championship haven't been given the opportunities that they could well deserve, the likes of Stephen Odendahl, Jesko Raffin, plus others as well. But hopefully Edgar Pons does get another opportunity in the World Championship. He's certainly matured a lot from those 2 years in 2016 and 2017 when he was in the World Championship. He is a different man now, a different character, and I'm sure the results would be a lot different as well. Meanwhile, here are the final results. As we know, Pons taking the victory ahead of Garzo and Mikel Pons. Top 10 rounded out there by Ramdan Rosley. Final finishers, Peter Biesakowski, Andy Farid, Jerry Salim, Yari Monteiro eventually rejoined after that earlier incident with Marcel Brenner. Sam Wilford, the wild card, making his way across from the British Championship, the British Supersport Championship, which incidentally has just been wrapped up by Jack Kennedy. So he's come across from that series for a couple of wild card rounds, was in Jerez as well. And will be next in action in a week's time, I believe.
Brands Hatch, yeah.
The season finale for the British Superbikes there. So this is how the championship looks then. With Edgar Pons now securing the title. 58 points clear with just 50 points up for grabs. Garzo, it's not settled for him, second place in the championship, but it'll take a disaster for him to lose out on second place to the likes of Marcon and Zaccone behind, who are now only separated by 2 points in that fight for the final podium places. Anapab Zamu moves up the order to top 10, thanks to that ride to 6th place with Kevin Kubo, Matteo Ferrari. Adam Norridin, who's not here this weekend, he's been doing a couple of rides in the World Championship with the Trona Sprinter Racing crew. Final points down the order, Matteo Ciprietti there, who just missed out on a couple of points after starting in pit lane in that one. Julian Meyer, Peter Pavalainen, Takeshi Ishizuka and Alex Ruiz, all there having picked up points throughout 2019 as well. But at the top of the tree, it is Edgar Pons, the number 57, is now number 1. European Moto2 champion in 2015, and 4 years later, he's done it again. He is your new 2019 European Moto2 champion.